Hi there, this is Dawn. Welcome to my art room and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's lovely to have you join me. And today I thought I'd have a bit of a play that's got nothing else to do with anyone else but me. And while I've been busy working on other YouTube projects, I thought I really wanted to have a play for something for me. Last week it was for a friend and this week it's for me. And yeah, so I thought, part of my my videoing and my YouTube channel is online projects or YouTube projects, and I thought I'd just introduce some of my own work that I haven't necessarily always shared on YouTube, but not for any other reason except that I'm usually just doing it myself and then I forget to video. So today, what I'm working on is I've made this big carry bag. That's going to be really hard for you to see it all in one hit, but I'll take a photo of it at a distance so you can see it. But I've made it for myself in fabrics that I had in my stash and just chose to put these bright orange zips on it because I like the look of it, the black with the orange together. But I just thought I wanted to do some slow stitch on it, and what I've decided to do is go Boro stitch inspired, which is, a Japanese stitch practice of stitching scraps together and really as a mending stitch. So yeah, well, it's, I'm not going to be doing it in the traditional Boro method. I'm going to be inspired by that. So my plan is to add some additional embellishments in places around the bag. This bag has got pockets on either side, pockets on the front, pockets on the back, one for you to go over your suitcase, a plain bottom, it's got some buttons on it for little feet, and it's got, the inside is lined with a paler fabric on one side and that spotty one on the other side. It's got pockets. That's that pocket's lined with the paler colour on the inside. So yes, it's going to be a great bag to take away. And this coming weekend, we're off to Ballarat to do Susanna's workshop retreat. I'm just taking this strap off only because it's more just in my way. It's a shoulder strap with a pad. It was an amazing pattern to make. It was a lot of steps. It certainly challenged my ability to sew. But anyway, I love doing it and now I love having it, and I thought I just want to make it my own with some patches on it. Cool. So what I've done to start with is get out what I thought was going to make patches that I was going to be happy with. I didn't want it to look like a patchwork quilt. I want it to still look like it's part of the bag. I don't have to be matchy-matchy on everything, but I just wanted it to look okay. And I have these beautiful Japanese fabrics that I've collected along the way and thought they are going to be perfect. While I haven't got a bright orange, I have this one that I think will work with it. It's got some nice patterning on it that, I think will be perfect. I like that one as well. And then I'm just going to stitch it with very, with plain straight stitches, no embroidery. I was looking for something. I found this one in my stash and I probably would have liked a thicker one. It's what I've got, and so I'm going to use it, and I can always decide. Sorry, crinkling it in your ear. I had a bit of a think about a couple of different ones. That would go with it. And so I think with that, I'm not so sure it'll go with the bag. because the bag's quite white. Well, you know, there are white bits in it. I'm humming and hawing on that one only because it'll probably go, with, well, I think I have to go with white. I don't know why I'm even deliberating over it. You know, that or that. This. Cool. And so what I'm going to do to start with is just cut myself out some pieces. I started to do it and then I thought, oh, I'm going to share this project with you. And so it'll probably take a few days before it's done, because hand stitching is never a 5-minute job. But I'll get the basics started. I've got a couple of busy things to do this week, but some time to get some hand stitching done. And that's what I thought I'd do. I have found a doily that's not too pretty, you know, it's not roses and, you know, delicate rosebuds, but maybe a little bit more geometric than I thought actually might work with this. So I thought that will, you know, that's one thing. I've got another one here that I've actually cut out, but it was the colour, and I thought that all the greys are probably going to need a pop of colour on them, and it might just be a feature piece. I found these cute little birdies that were part of a pack from Rachel from Roxy Creations on her ephemera, and yep, that's the right colour again. And I just didn't want to introduce another colour. That was my real story. I've found some lacy bits, some trim bits, and all probably in the bits and pieces that I'm going to be happy to use. Cool. All right. So my first little bit of process is around cutting up some of these fabrics. And what I want to do is cut them. Now, this was a panel. This is a panel off a skirt that I bought, you know, ages ago. Don't wear it anymore. My daughter wears it, but she didn't want the panel. And I said, well, I'm going to have that panel because it's like, you know, 2 layers of fabric that I can cut out and use this cute little design and even that bit there. So, yep, let's not. I looked at other fabrics. I looked at Matildas and my Liberty prints that, you know, have orange on them, but just thought I didn't think they would go with this bag. I even looked at some William Morris fabric and did the same. I'm humming and hawing on this one. It may make an appearance. What I want to do is have some darker backgrounds, some, you know, more muted backgrounds, and then a pop of colour. That's where my head's going. You know, let's see what happens, eh? Cool. All right, so I think I'm going to say these are my darker ones. These are my paler ones here. And can you see all right? Kind of. And these are my pops of colour. So yeah, so that's kind of, you know, where I'm headed with this project. I'm not sure how long it will take, but let's just start and see where we get to. Cool. All right, so I hope you're all well. This one's got a little bit of glitter on it. I was obviously in something else. Oh, I know, I think I bought it when I was doing Christmas projects with Corinne, and then I probably had it on the same table. This one is as gorgeous on the back as it is on the front, and maybe when we go to Ballarat on the weekend, that might be another little shopping haul that I check out, because Gail's Patchwork Emporium, where we go to in Ballarat, has an amazing selection. Sorry, I'm pulling my chair in so I can get a bit closer. Has an amazing selection of these Japanese fabrics that I've fallen in love with from the very first time I ever saw them. You can't rip it. But I really like this edging, and I think it's definitely going to make an appearance. So yeah, here we go. I'm going to, well, I don't think it rips. Let me just have a bit of a play with this. No, and I don't want to ruin it. So the way that I do cutting up things like this is kind of bring that straight edge down, match the sides. I could get my quilting ruler out, move this, get my blade cut. I don't want to. I just want to make this a fun thing to do without going, you know, to crazy lengths. You know, I dropped these scissors on the floor and they've sprung apart, I think, in the middle, and I'm not enjoying using them, so I'm going to go back to my old faithfuls. I bought these scissors years and years and years ago. Look, they just cut. I don't know why I'm playing with the other ones for. They don't look the best anymore because the rubber's worn off. It's not really dirty, it's just worn, the rubber's worn. But I got a you know, a ganglen here which really hurt, and it was from cutting. And I found these spring-loaded ones. They've got a bit of paint on them. They've been so well loved and used. They've had the spring replaced once. They've been sharpened so many times, and they come as good as ever. Don't look the best, work fantastic. They're a Fiskars brand, and I just love them. Little lock so that I can protect them. They don't have the sharpest point, so I go, you know, I revert back to my other ones. But yeah, it's a shame about these ones. They and it was me dropping them, so they've got a nut. So I think if I took them to the scissors man, I can see where they, I don't know if you can, you know, where they spring apart, and which stops me from cutting. Long story about scissors. There we go. So I don't know what size I want to make them. Got no idea. But let's just go with this for now. I'm probably going to want some long ones. So what I did was just fold it in half, cut along the fold line, but I do want that. So I'm going to make myself a little pile of fabrics here in the dark, the medium and the bright, and then when I start laying them out, I thought I'll just pick them up in a random way. This was another one of those yarn dyed ones in the Japanese fabric range, and I can't tell you how many times I've used it. It does have a selvage with those little holes, and I don't think I'm going to use that end. Well, I can use it because then it's straight, isn't it? I don't have to think about it too much. The other end is where I've cut flowers out of it. So I'm just going to cut along those, you know, they're just where the selvage is, those little needle holes from where it probably goes on the runner when it's being printed or dyed or whatever they do with it. I don't know. It can be used for something else, but not in this project. So I don't throw those things out. I hang on to them. But again, it's the same sort of thing. You know, some may need to be trimmed. They may not fit. And so that's all right. I'm just going to start with a basic piece. You don't have to do them all so perfect. Let's do them all a little bit different. Just wherever the fold is where I'm going to cut it. Surprise. I don't know what I'll end up with. I'll just wait and see. Oh, yep, a little skinny one is good to have, and a longer one. Cool. All right, that's that one. and I've got that black one. This is another one of those beautiful yarn dyed ones with a great selvage. Looks pretty cool on the back as well as the front. Not quite as good as the other one, but I don't mind it. But I like the selvage. Let's be a bit more strategic about this one, and I'm going to cut just above that flower line, so I've got 2 lots of flowers and the selvage, because the patterns on the fabric will form part of the pattern, you know, when I lay the fabrics out. I went through sort of a bit of a process about thinking about what I would do, and would I just cut out pieces that, you know, that I just would applique on, and then I just decided that I would go with that more linear pattern, and being that the bag has more linear type pattern on it, like the stripes and the spots, a bit more geometric-y, and so felt that, you know, cutting out roses and applique, no, I didn't think that that was going to suit this bag. And, you know, it needs to be practical. I'm going to use it. All right, so I think if I just cut this edge here off, and then I can split the fabric in two and use it. But I thought I'd show you how I'm getting what I want, and I'll either have enough, I'll need to change things, or I'll need a bit more. I don't know, and I don't know all the places that I'm going to put it. I'm just going to start and see where I go with it. I thought definitely on the front and up to the top, where the zip is here. So it's going to be horrible to film. So, you know, this is the front of the bag, and then this curls over, which is the top where the zip is. So I thought something coming over, maybe down at the side a bit, and definitely, you know, in other areas of the bag. But when I get to that point, I'll aim to try and film it. It might be photos. You may not get a good view of it till, yeah, I'll take a photo. Simply because it's too big. All these big projects that we're doing that are harder and harder to film for you guys so that you can see what we're doing. And I just don't have a setup where I can film it really from a distance. Most of us YouTubers are home-based and don't have a studio setup that will allow us to film that way. That's all right. I think we do all right. Well, I hope we do. You guys all seem to enjoy what we do, so that's great. I think I'll just cut that straight off. I don't think there's probably any point in keeping that. It's just where the buttonholes were that it buttoned to the front of the skirt, so it sort of made like an apron front. I mean, it was cute in its day. I don't know, I'll keep that, you never know. Might want that. Looks like there's a little mark here, so that will need to get covered up some way. And this is already stitched onto here, so I'll have to think about, I don't think I want to keep that bulk. It's like a quite a heavy drill, so I think will cut the panel out off it where it's been stitched. I missed that row of stitching. mean, I'll lose that nice frayed edge, but by the time I unpicked that black stitching, I might have been slightly insane with it, and wouldn't probably enjoy that very much at all. I know what I might do, just to preserve that bit of black fabric. Should have done that. Cut it off like that. That was cleverer. The black drill's quite nice. It would make a good strong piece of fabric for something, if that's what you needed it for. Something. Yeah, cool. I like those geometric bits, but I like these bunnies. Oh, that bunny anyway. Which piece will I have? And I like these little stamps. I've got one with my name on it that I bought in China. And I presume it says Dawn. Could say anything. I wouldn't know. And the red, sort of the red ink's a bit like a wax ink. But it was on a holiday and, yeah, I thought something different as a souvenir. So, let's go. All right, let's go with that one. And then I'm not going to cut it till I know for sure which bit I want. All right, I'm going to just put that aside because I don't want to use it all right at this very second. Cool. All right. Well, I think for 20 minutes you've watched where I'm going. The next time I'm going to put you on pause. It's only going to be a second or two before you see me again. But you can see where I'm headed with this and my thought process. And when I've got all of those squares done, dusted, and I've started pinning them on, I'll come back and show you what I'm doing. Okay, hope you're good. I'm back for a minute. I'm not going to have this bit too long, but I'm pretty stoked at how that looks. What I wanted it to look like. This is the, you'd love to laugh. So I get all of this bit pinned on the top here and get this done, and I noticed this little bit of, it was like a little bit of wear on there, and it would be the material. I bought it, supposedly an antique, vintage wares shop, the fabric, this grey fabric was in. I don't think it was too vintage. It was just, second-hand probably. But anyway, what I noticed when I was doing all this is underneath the flower here, a little wear spot that I thought, well, that needs to be a repair, a little Boro stitch repair. But anyway, I'm really happy with how that's turned out. It's what I wanted it to look like. It is in the white, and I think it blends in really well. I've yet to do the top bit, and I will. But the reason I came back on is to share with you where I'm going with this, because, the bag is already made and it's a bit bulky and it's a bit tricky. I can't get my hand in properly and I was struggling with it a bit. I tried the white thread and on this it looked awful. So I've gone back to that sort of a natural sort of colour thread, not the white, and I think it's fine. I tried a few different ways of stitching this flower on. Maybe should it have had Liza fix? Probably. But I didn't do that. So what I decided to, I tried doing little stitches around here, looked awful. I thought I'm just going to go back to that sort of straightish sort of, like it's almost being done. But what I noticed was a couple of spots that are going to be a problem if I don't sort it out. So I've been stitching back just where that petal goes in, just so that it has a bit of extra protection. So I thought I'd just come and talk about it. Because this fabric is quilted, there's the fabric on the top, a wadding, a fairly firm felted wadding, and then an underlay, and then I machine stitched it to quilt it. What I'm doing is I'm just guiding the needle. You know, I'm not trying to push it all the way through, but I am guiding it to go between the layers. I keep checking every now and then because there is a pocket in under here, and I just want to make sure that I wasn't going through, and I haven't been. It's, you know, it's a bit tricky, it's a bit fiddly. I'm not going to spend the whole time stitching here with you because it is tricky and fiddly, but yeah, I'm just doing these sort of straightish stitches on those sort of pressure points. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing at the minute. I was doing those straight lines until I realised that I hadn't caught some of those bits because they're just going to wear off. I'm still not 100% sure about that. That's probably going to wear off as well. I don't know. Do I need to go back and sort that out as well? Maybe. Maybe it needs another stitch there and another stitch there. Probably another stitch there. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. All right. You know, you might as well see what I'm fiddling with, just because I felt like I needed to show you. So yeah, so I'm doing a stitch there, which isn't really straight. I guess it kind of looks darned, doesn't it? There'll be another one there, which isn't really straight. I really don't know now whether I need to do straight stitches all across there. Oh, I'm probably going to have to come back and sort that out. But anyway, here's where I'm headed with this. As I said, I'm just literally feeding the needle through as under it as I possibly can. I've picked a fairly long needle so that I can do that sort of thing. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. See how that just... Oh, so what you can't see. See how those bits flip up there? All right, well, what I am trying to do is make sure that I do go over the edge when I come back through. Oh, I haven't, I need to go further down. Oh, well, I'm going to actually do that because that's not going to last. If I have too big a gap here, oh, that's because my thread ran out there. That's why I had to finish off there. Gosh, I haven't got you in the best place. I don't know what's gone on with my positioning, but anyway, let's keep working on it. You know, I guess if they were doing some mending, they'd probably do something kind of like this, where not all their stitching went in beautiful rows, but rather protected the fabric that they were stitching onto it. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm just kind of just feeling like where it goes in. What I'm going to do here, so I'm going to do a stitch like that there, and then another stitch here, and maybe that will help the story, hopefully. All right, so this is what I'm doing. I'm just kind of feeling my way, checking every now and then. Don't know what happened to the pin tin, it's gone. It'll be here somewhere. It's not It's not super easy, only that it's fiddly. It's not hard to get the needle through or any of those things, just fiddly. Just fiddly to keep the stitching, you know, keeping the needle going through the fabric, because I'm having to deal with this bulk level. Probably the hardest part of doing this. I think the rest will be okay. So see how I went under there? I'm going to come back because that's one of those spots that I'm nervous about. And I don't want it to fray away. All right, I'm going to put, I think, like a stitch between. So I'm going to go back and fix those ones. So I'm going to do that one there. And then go back, because that was a bit close, that one. And see, I want the thread to come sort of down there rather than, you know, in that point there. Yeah, like that. And I'm just letting the needle guide me a little bit. Every now and then if I'm worried about how straight my lines are, and I haven't worried too much, this is on the bottom. It's not, it's probably hardly really going to be seen. Whoops, don't need a loop there. So if the rows aren't straight, they're probably not going to matter too much, hopefully. So I'm just going to follow that line, but I've just got to be careful that I don't then stitch myself a loop. Yeah, but I'm going to go back and do another stitch there. So now that I've done these extra stitches here, I'm going to go back and play with that as well. See, that one's a wee bit long. It's just in a really queer spot for me to get at, because it's right on the bottom of the bag and sort of in a corner. Boxed myself in, I have. But yeah, I'm really just picking up this top layer. I can feel that with the needle. It's not going in any depth at all. It's probably only going under the very first layer of this grey fabric. And if I feel it going a bit deeper, I check. I check on the inside. So if this is a project that you think, you know, you might like to have a go at, and that would be my hint for it, as far as how you manage to do this on something already pre-made. So again, going back over that edge, making sure I capture it. I want to go beyond it just as a pattern, but I'm going to come back to that joint there and just put that extra little stitch in there. And again, feeling with the needle and my fingers that I'm not going all the way through. I might just go back over that one. A couple of them are probably closer. I haven't measured it. I haven't done any of those things. But yeah, it's just in this crazy spot. But, you know, nothing's impossible. If you take your time, be a bit patient. Oh, I felt a funny bit of resistance then. Oh no, I can feel in here that it's not hooked up to anything else, so that's good. Inside this bottom bit is a panel that if you wanted to give it a bit of like stiffening, it's a bag that you could fit a small sewing machine in, but so inside there's like a panel, a separate panel that goes along here that you can then slide in, you know, a piece of Perspex or, you know, a piece of cardboard or something. That will just help to give it some stability if you were going to be carrying something heavy. I put that panel in down the track. Who knows what I'll do with it? I don't. But you never know. Could do. My sewing machine wouldn't fit in it. But if you had one of those small, like Juki or something, you know, they probably fit into it. I'm not going to do that. I'm probably never going to carry a sewing machine in it. It's not my sewing machines have their own covers, so that if I did actually want to take it to a class, I probably could. I should show you the pattern. This was the bag pattern. There's a website for it. By Annie.com. It's an ultimate travel bag 2.0, and yeah, that's what it kind of looks like if you're putting it over the top of your suitcase. That one, it doesn't have a pattern as such, it just has measurements, you know, for the instructions. So every bit was a little bit. It was a bit more time consuming than I ever would have imagined. But I enjoy those sorts of things. I don't get too worried about them. It was for me. I would never do them to sell. I don't know that you'd get your money back. But that's right. I wasn't doing it to sell. I was doing it for me. So yeah, they didn't take a huge amount of fabric. The fittings, probably all the metal fittings, like these bits that hold the strapping on, you know, the shoulder strap and then the shoulder strap clips, they're probably the most expensive part of it. That's all right. Probably could have bought one cheaper at a bag shop. And, you know, you could then slow stitch over one from a bag shop if that's what you wanted to do, rather than make your own. But I saw this pattern in a shop that I went to buy embroidery threads from. Didn't buy any embroidery threads, bought the bag pattern instead, because I fell in love with it. I mean, they had one made up, and I thought, oh, I just really want that. And I just knew that I wanted to do some slow stitch stuff on it and really make it my own. And so, yep, I came home with a bag pattern and knew that I had enough fabric in my stash to do something. I probably didn't mean to put 3 patterns, like this stripe, and this dot. But yes, I did need to add more than I had. So this thread has run out, so I'm just going to go back under where I've come from. And again, whip that under there before I just do, I'll get another piece of thread and just do those last little bits. I really want to go back and catch some of those bits there because they're not going to last. This is the strapping, but yeah, see here, it's just like they're too big a gap. They're not going to survive, I don't think. but I quite like it as an, just as a little patch there on the bottom. Yeah, that looks good, but very happy with how that went. So I've got this to go. This is the top part of the bag. I've done that, and I've done this little bit down the side that's not properly pinned, but I'm going to do the same. It's amazing how much it then, those little patches all integrate back, into the base of the, what you're doing it to. I love the look of it. Cool. All right. I think there was supposed to be a bit of that up there, and for the life of me, I can't see it. I thought I cut a bit out, and I don't know where it went. Did a disappearing act. I've twisted it and turned it so many times. So yeah, that's my little flower down the bottom there. And I'm going to go and do those little straight bits because I just think they're going to need it. All right. Oh gosh, that's another 18 minutes that I just shared with you. I'll come back and show you where I get to with the top bit and maybe share a photo of the bag in in its when it's done. Cool. Alrighty. Talk to you soon. Well, I'm just playing with the other side. What I was laughing about previously was that I've got it all pinned down and realised that I was started on the back instead of the front. It's a bit crazy. So this is the front, and I'm just been playing with some patches here. I'll turn it over in a minute, but I just thought before I finish videoing, I just didn't really sort of talk about how I was stitching it on the other side. So I'll just come back and show you how I was doing it. It's, it's a bit fingers and thumbs, only because the bag's already made up. But I think, I've been playing with some bits on the pocket as well. What I do is just sort of put it down and then I walk away and have a think about it, and I'm pretty happy with how it looks on the other side though. It looks great. I'm thinking about this stripe. Yeah, I think I might do that. Maybe just kind of eyeballing it really. But I think it'll be one of those sort of projects that possibly I'll just keep adding to. I'll do a little bit. I'm not going to try and finish it all in one hit. As I said, I thought I might take it away with me when I go to Ballarat, in which case it certainly won't be finished, that's for sure. Quite like, bits going inside pockets like that. Quite like the look of that. I mean, you're looking at it upside down, sorry. But it's probably the easiest way of showing you. It's just tricky to film, that's all. Yeah. I think I'm probably close to being happy about this. Now I had maybe this one. All right. I think I had the other one on the other side, the paler background. But I think I might do this one on this side. I'm just going to maybe it's almost too big. I think, I'm wondering, yeah, I don't think it needs to be the whole thing. I think I'll go with that. All right, so I'm just going to give myself just some cutting lines. Yep. I'm really not trying to be too measured about anything. Yep. Maybe. Yep. Do I need it? I'm even wondering a little bit more than that. What I'm trying to avoid is anything, you know, those lines matching up. So I'm trying to, yeah, all right, let's do that one. Just when I'm putting one square on top of the other, I want them to go one on top of the other and not be in line with each other. Just neatening up edges here. Funny, it's almost like that flower. Yeah, so what I'm doing, I wonder if it should go under. Let's try that a little bit better. Oh no, I think I like it over the top of it. So it's this line here and this line not matching up with that one. That's what I'm trying to avoid. Good. All right. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm just adding these little pins while I am doing the stitching. Keep them in place. So once I've done this top bit, I think I'd like to add a bit extra down the side here, and I've got this one sort of just sitting there thinking about it, and these bits on the pocket here, possibly. Cool. All right, and so then really it's just a matter now. I'm using that same piece of crochet, you know, the crochet cotton. It's quite thin. It's it says it's a Mercer Crochet 60. I don't know if that's its size. I don't know much about crochet cottons and whether or not that's the way to determine the thickness. I don't know. I don't know. Possibly. think I'm going to leave that off for now, but it's going to go there. But I'm going to put it on once I've got the squares stitched in place. So just starting on this edge here, what I've been doing is making sure that I've buried the knot underneath from just the patch, because I'm not going through to the underside of the bag, I'm just going through the top layer really. But I'm making sure always that my stitches where the patch meets the bag, the stitch goes over the top of it, just to ensure that that edge has got some protection. I'm trying to avoid going right up to the zip, just to make sure that it doesn't get caught. That was my only thought about it. Keep pulling that out. But I think this is the last part of this video for this project. There'll be probably a photo on my Instagram page of it when I get around to finishing it. But for now, you'll see pretty much what it's going to look like. And this is just how I went about it. I just allowed the needle to just determine how long the stitches were. I'm not trying to make them even or anything like that. Where it it falls short of the end, I'm just coming back and doing a stitch like that, just to make sure that it like I said, those edges are held down and protected somewhat from mostly wear and tear. But I guess in the true form of it, if things start to get a bit raggy, then I can just continue to do a bit more stitching, repair it, add another square maybe if I need to, and it'll just really continue to add to the overall picture and the finish, so it won't really matter. So yeah, it's quite stiff to stitch through, but by just allowing the needle to tilt up and down, it's gone a bit wibbly. Sometimes I don't mind it and sometimes I don't like it. So I'll just see. Yeah, no, I don't like it. Other times what I do is, by laying the thread down, I either allow the thread to follow the thread line as a guide, or do sort of a bit of that, pin a straight line. I'm not measuring it. If you were worried about it, you could measure them and draw lines, but that's not the way I do it. The long needle really helps to... don't think I made that much better. Obviously doesn't want to go any straighter than that, so that's it. It's decided that that's what it's doing. Follow that lead. Yeah, but the long needle helps to make it a bit easier, that's all. So So again, continuing to go over the edge, then I just scoot the needle along till I come, you know, what I think is an okay. So sometimes I just do that, lay the thread down, but then come back and have the needle follow it along. Which helps to keep it straight, making sure the thread doesn't wrap over the needle, but it just gives me a bit of a straight guide. And because this bag fabric is so thick, oh yes, that pin did stick in me. I hope that doesn't get any worse than that. Yeah. It is about letting the needle have its own way almost. Give it its head. I've probably just got enough to come across there, and then that will do. I'll turn it around, show you what it looks like. I think it was, yeah, it's a nice project to do. It's just kind of rocking the needle backwards and forwards, you know, just by the end, because I'm not going in and out, I'm just going through those top layers. So what I'm doing is just rocking the needle by the end of it. So rocking like that, I can feel that it's not gone through all the way. It's one of those movements that, you know, it's not hard to do, just takes probably a little bit of practice. And I bury that in there. And call this video done. Cool. All right. So that's what it's starting to look like. That will be the front up the right way. That will go possibly down here. I'm looking at some of this on the pocket, but haven't completed it yet, and not sure when that'll get done. But the other side is done, and how much nicer it looks once it's stitched. Oh, I thought that was a thread. How good does it look? I've got that little bit of doily over the top. And the fabrics just go inside the pocket here. These fabrics are on this band, a little bit down the side here of the handle, the flower patch at the bottom. That's it. Good. Okay. Well, that's my little project that I'll continue to work on. It probably will be some time before it's finished. Certainly not just yet. I'll probably end up taking it away with me unfinished. Cool. Alrighty. I hope this finds you well and you're doing something nice for you. Okay. Bye for now.